Hello guys, welcome to today's class. Today we're gonna start with a listening and vocabulary, as you can see. In the first exercise, they tell us work with a partner. Look at the photograph, picture, and map, Stonehenge, and guess the correct answers A, B, or C to the questions 1 to 6. Okay, so we have these questions, and you have to take a look to this photograph, picture, and map that we have here. And then you're gonna try to guess the answers, okay? Like we haven't listened to the audio, you don't know the answer, but try to guess them. For example, how long do you think that these stones have been standing? 5,000 years, 50,000 years, or 5,500 years, okay? Which one do you think? So do it. And when you finish, I'm gonna play the audio so that we can listen and then answer the questions correctly. Here goes the audio. Pay attention.
Unit 9, Track 2.21.
It's a cold, gray morning. The sky is overcast and it's drizzling. For me, these are ideal conditions to visit the mysterious and ancient Stonehenge, my favorite place. As a child, when I first visited the stone circle, it was the sense of mystery that fascinated me. What are the stones for? How did they get here? And what kinds of ceremonies and events went on here? As an adult, what I love about Stonehenge is that it's been standing there for 5,000 years, and it endures. I love the fact that after so many millennia, it remains such an enigmatic and enchanting place. It's a little difficult to picture exactly how it was all that time ago, with only a few odd stones left and half of those fallen down. When it was complete, the stones would have been carefully laid out as a circle, with a horseshoe in the center. Two types of stone were used, sarsen and bluestone. The huge upright stones are sarsens, weighing up to 40 tons each. Then the inner circle is made up of bluestones, and they weigh a mere 4 tons each. The bluestones are so called because they turn blue when they get wet. Stonehenge is, without a doubt, one of the greatest engineering achievements of prehistoric times. The stones were huge, and not a single one can be found locally. One can only marvel at the phenomenal effort involved in bringing the stones here. I'm joined by Richard Jones, an expert in Stonehenge history, to tell us about the latest theories about how the stones were brought here and why. Richard, these huge upright stones, the sarsens, I suppose they were dragged across the land.
They would have been dragged, yes, from the Marlborough Downs, about 20 miles away to the north of here.
And the bluestones, they came from Wales, is that right?
From southwest Wales, from the sunny mountains of southwest Wales, yes, a good 250 miles away from here.
So there must have been some really powerful reason for them to situate it here.
Yes, there must have been a very good reason to bring them all the way here. It couldn't have been easy to get these stones in place. They didn't have the wheel at that time. In fact, it must have taken them years.
But the reason why it's located here remains a mystery.
Absolutely. Something drew them to bring all these materials here to this place. Why they brought them here, no idea. And you know, if you put 12 archaeologists in one room, you'll have 12 different theories. But we will never know for sure because Stonehenge was built before written history began. So we don't have any written evidence of a motive, a reason for why Stonehenge is here.
All we can do is speculate. No one really knows what went on here, and I've got a feeling that Stonehenge will always keep some of its secrets.
So let's check the answer. How long has Stonehenge been standing? 5,000 years. Yes, not 50,000, 5,000. Then, how were the stones laid out originally? As a circle. Yes, originally they were laid out as a circle. What makes the blue stones turn blue? The rain. Then, how were the sarsen stones transported? They were dragged. And how far were the blue stones transported? They were transported for 250 miles. And finally, why was Stonehenge built? It's a mystery. Yes, we don't know. Alright guys, let's continue with the next exercise that says find two synonyms in the box for each underlined word or phrase in the sentence A to E. Use your dictionary if necessary. Okay, so here we have 5 phrases, and in each phrase we have an underlined phrase or word. So what you're gonna do is that you're gonna change this for two of these words that we have here. For example, the sky is overcast and it's raining lightly. Which word from the box would you say that is the same as raining lightly? Very good. Drizzling. Which other? Yes, speeding. Okay, so drizzling and speeding are the same as raining lightly. If you need to use the dictionary so that you can know the meaning of these words, you can do it. Please do it. And continue with the exercise. When you finish, I will show you the answers. Alright, so here are the answers. As you can see, we can say continue to exist. We can say endures or survives. When you say mysterious, you can say enigmatic or intriguing. When you say captivating, you can say alluring or enchanting. If you want to say only, you can say just or you can say a mere. And if you want to say compelled, you can say drew or inspired. Okay, so all these words, the 3 words of each group, they mean the same. They are synonyms. Alright? Now for the next exercise, you're gonna listen again to the audio. Please play the audio again. But now you're gonna check the word from the box that was actually used in the radio show. Which word did they use? For example, they didn't say raining lightly, that we know that, but they say drizzling or speeding, one of these words. So you're gonna check the words. So do it, and when you finish, we'll check the answers. Let's see. So the words that they used were drew, drizzling, enchanting, endures, enigmatic, and a mere. Alright. Now, for the last exercise of this section, it says, what is the oldest building that you have ever visited? Tell your partner about it. So you have to think of the oldest building that you have visited. It doesn't have to be from your city, not even from your country. If you have traveled to other places and you have seen some very old buildings, you can tell your partners about it. Maybe you don't know the exact date of those buildings, but you know that they are old. For example, if you have traveled here in Mexico to places like Mexico City, Guanajuato, San Luis, you can see that there are pretty old buildings. So tell your partner about those. If you could research a little information about those buildings, that will be excellent. Alright? So when you finish, we continue. Very good. Moving on to the next section, we have a grammar topic. It says, listen to 5 visitors answering the question, what do you think Stonehenge was built for? And you must underline whether they are almost certain or uncertain about the theories A to G they suggest. So we're gonna listen to these visitors, and each of them is gonna tell one of these theories. But you have to decide if they are almost certain or uncertain about things that happened. So here goes the audio.
Track 2.22. A.
The big stones look like a doorway. The shape is very similar to those found in Japan at the entrance of some of our temples. I think it must have been a kind of temple, a religious place.
B.
Well, apparently the stones are aligned with the sun and the moon at certain times of the year, the solstices and the equinoxes. So I think it might have been a kind of prehistoric calendar. But it couldn't have only been a calendar. It was more important than that. I think Stonehenge must have been a place where people worshipped the sun and the moon.
C.
I think it might have been a place where important ceremonies took place. It probably had a roof on it originally. If you think about it, it makes sense. It was obviously an important place, and it rains a lot around here.
D.
We don't know, do we? It could have been a landing site for spacecraft from other planets for all we know. Some people believe it was. Personally, I think it's just a bunch of stones in a field.
E.
Well, it's a mystery, isn't it? Even the archaeologists can't agree. There's one group who have dug up bones, and they think they can prove that it must have been a cemetery. Then there's another group of archaeologists who think that the blue stones may have had special properties, and that's why they brought them all the way from Wales. Personally, I think it may have been a kind of healing place.
Now, let's check the answer. The first visitor said it was a kind of temple, a religious place. Would you say that this person was almost certain or uncertain? It almost certain. Very good. Then letter B. It wasn't only a calendar. Also almost certain. Then it was a place where important ceremonies took place. This person was uncertain. Then it was a landing site for spacecraft from other planets. Uncertain. I will be very certain about this. And then finally, it was a healing place. This person was uncertain. All right. Guys, if you paid attention to the audios, you could have noticed that this person used these past models of deduction. They use must, may, might, could, or couldn't, and the present perfect have used. But when do we use these models, past models of deductions? Let's see. To express degrees of certainty about something which happened in the past, we can use must, may, might, could, or couldn't, plus have and verb in past participle, or in other words, plus present perfect. Okay, when we try to guess, to deduct what happened in the past, we can use any of these words and the present perfect. But we're talking in the past, remember. But when you use must, it is because you're almost certain something happened. You cannot be 100% certain because you didn't know what happened. That's why you are deducting, you are guessing, but you're almost certain. So you can say this must have happened. For example, when independence in Mexico happened, there must have been a lot of dead people. Okay, that is something that I am almost certain about. When you are not very certain, when you are uncertain, you use may, could, or might. When you are uncertain, something happened in the past. Okay, that you make a guess, but you're not very sure that that happened. Maybe you don't have enough evidences to say that. So you're uncertain that something happened. And finally, you use couldn't when you are almost certain that something didn't happen. That something couldn't have happened, that it was very improbable that this has happened. Okay, so you use couldn't when you're almost certain that something didn't happen. All right? Any questions? Remember, guys, for all of these, you have to use the modal and have in the very past participle. Must have been, may have seen, couldn't have done. For example, I can tell you, we couldn't have gone to Celeb last week because it was closed. Okay, I'm making a deduction that something didn't happen. All right? You could have stayed in your house the past week because those were the indications. I don't know. I'm making a deduction about last week. I'm uncertain because I don't know. All right. Any question, guys? If you have, please send me a message. All right. If there isn't any question, let's do the exercise, the next exercise. You're gonna use couldn't, could, may, might, or must to rewrite the sentences. For example, I'm almost certain it happened. It must have happened. Okay, it must have happened. I'm almost certain it didn't happen. It couldn't have happened. Okay? It couldn't have happened. Remember, have in past participle. And I'm uncertain whether it happened or not. It may, it could, or it might have happened. Okay? So please write those sentences in your book. And when you're done, we continue with the exercise number 2. That says complete the sentence so that it has a similar meaning to the first sentence. Use between 2 and 5 words, including the words given in bold. So we have some sentences like it's possible that the stones of our Stonehenge were moved by a system of levers. You have to complete the second sentence by using might. As you can see, we are going to use might because it is possible. We are uncertain. We don't know. We are not 100% sure. But remember, guys, that you have to use might and have and the verb in past participle. Might have. For example, in this case, the stones for Stonehenge might have. In this case, like we are using the passive voice, were moved. So might have. What is the past participle of were? Been moved. Might have been moved. Okay, so we have the past participle of were, been, and moved by a system of levers. Okay, please continue doing the exercises, and when you finish, we're gonna check the answers. Alright, now in the letter B it says, it is almost certain that the material to build the Sphinx of Giza was transported down the Nile. So we have must because it was almost certain. The material to build the Sphinx of Giza must, again, we have was transported, is passive voice. What is the past participle of was? Again, been. So must have been transported. Right. Remember, guys, here we are checking the answers. You have to do it on your own. Here we're just checking that your answers are correct. Let's continue. The letter C says the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza probably involved up to 50,000 workers. So we're going to use could have. The construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza could have involved, very good, up to 50,000 workers. Involved in this case is in past. The past participle is the same. Then, perhaps the Nazca line in Peru were a map of underground water supplies. The Nazca lines in Peru may have, what is the verb? Were, and in past participle? Been, may have been. Alright, then letter E. The Easter Island status obviously didn't come from outer space. So it's couldn't because it's obvious that something didn't happen. So the Easter Island status couldn't have, past participle of come? Come. Couldn't have come from outer space. And the last sentence we have, Machu Picchu was almost definitely built as a fortress against powerful enemies. Machu Picchu was almost definitely. In this case, we have the verb in past participle. We don't have the modal. Which modal would you use? Was almost definitely. We use must, okay? And when you use must for deduction in past, you have to use have, and we already have the verb in past participle being built. Must have been built. Machu Picchu must have been built as a fortress against powerful enemies. Okay, guys, I hope that you understood the topic. If you didn't, please let me know. Okay? Now, the next question says, what other theories do you know about the origin of these or other ancient ruins? Which do you think are the most least likely? Tell a partner. Okay, so you're gonna call your classmates and you're gonna tell them if you know about other theories about ancient ruins. For example, here in Mexico, we have many ancient ruins at south of our country. ruins that belong to the Aztecs and to the Mexicas and like that, right? So please start talking about this. You can do a little research so that you can know what you're gonna say, but I want you to speak, okay? And when you finish, we're gonna continue with the last section of today's class, which is an anecdote. It says, you're going to tell your partner about your favorite historic place, building, monument, or ruin. So you have to, maybe you don't have a favorite historic place, but maybe one that you know that caught your attention. It can be from Mexico or it can be from any other country. First, you're gonna ask yourself the questions below. These questions, you're gonna ask them to yourself. You're not gonna ask them to your partner. You're gonna ask them to yourself so that you can think on the answers and think about what to say and how to say it. And at the end, you're gonna tell your partner about the place. So you already know. Call your classmates and you have to tell them about your favorite historic place. Okay. And when you finish, guys, that's gonna be it for today's class. I hope that you understood everything. And do you have any doubt, any question, please feel free on sending me a message or something. I can help you. All right, guys, don't forget to do the workbook and the portfolio on time because I'm gonna check it when we come back to class. Okay, so that's it for today. Thank you for your attention and see you tomorrow. Goodbye.